Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in front of the old state capitol building of Iowa in Iowa City, Iowa. A lot of Iowas in that sentence. But yes, I did do an episode on the current state capitol, but you know what? Since I'm passing through Iowa City, I might as well do a video on the old capitol building. Plus, we're going to go in. It's now a museum, and it is also part of the University of Iowa campus, and I'll explain more about that. So let's get things started. So here's a little pan shot of the campus. Like that right there is Schaefer Hall. But this is easy to find because it's just right off the road, and you do have to pay to park. I mean, with universities and colleges, you got to expect that. They do have a parking meter where you can actually put coins in. You don't have to use an app, which I'm happy. Okay, so the old state capitol building in Iowa City was once the main government building for the state of Iowa, and it now stands as the most prominent landmark at the center of this campus. The building was depicted on the 1946 Iowa Centennial commemorative half dollar. It was individually listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's a National Historic Landmark. I'll show you those plaques later on. And this was built in 1842. It was modeled after the old state capitol building in Illinois. The Iowa Constitution was crafted here, and the state's first governor was sworn in that building. When Iowa became a state in 1846, in fact, 59 days afterwards, it was decided to build a higher education institution nearby, and of course that would become the University of Iowa. And the university would eventually take ownership of this building. But it was decided by the late 1850s by lawmakers to move the capital city to a more centralized location in Iowa. This was a common practice among some states at the time. And as we all know, the current state capital is in Des Moines. So, and it is a museum. It pretty much just talks about, you can go in room by room. It's self-guided and it's free. Donations are accepted. They have a gift shop. They have a special exhibit. And I'll show you some parts. I didn't take much video in here, but I think you'll still like it. This was also put on the National Register of Historic Places. That was in 1972, and then 1976, as it says here, this was designated as a National Historic Landmark. I don't know what it is, but about all these plaques, you know, I like to geek out and see all these all around the country, because, I mean, it is a big distinction. You know, if you think about it. Now, 1978, this building was included as a contributing property in the Pentacrest, which is a historic district listed in the National Register of Historic Places. And I don't think this is ADA compliant, but maybe in the back it is. But so here's the main entrance. Iowa, it says on there. Big doors too. And I'm going to go ahead and read the plaque here. The Old Capitol. This building, the last capital of Iowa Territory, became the first capital of the state of Iowa on December 28, 1846, and was given to the university by an act of the First General Assembly signed by Governor Ansel Briggs, February 25, 1847. This tablet is the gift of the class of 1910 College of Liberal Arts. Very nice. Okay, and it is open, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go in. This is the old governor's office. So 3 of them have used this as their office. Iowa's first governor, second one, and the third. Wow. And that's the executive committee. I'm gonna go in. And here's the president's office, meaning the university's office. You have the University of Iowa president once had the office in here. Wow. Got a fireplace. By the way, it's really warm in here. And it's June. The State University of Iowa, all these catalogs. And if you look on the bottom, yearbooks dating back to 1948 to the latest one, 1970. Wow. And of course I can't go back there. Look at that old thermometer, everything. And of course there's a historical marker that tells all about that. So here I am in the basement. It's got a temporary exhibit down here. Like it's got a bunch of old photos of the construction of the Capitol and Capitol over the years. And these were stuff that was retrieved from the fire of 2001, which happened on November 20th. But it was an accidental fire that was started by a heat gun to remove paint from the old Capitol cupola, sorry. But this was reopened in 2006 after 5 years of restoration. Here's a kind of a timeline of this building too. Some cool paintings. Yep, this is basically what I see in Iowa. The dirt and a big blue sky. And of course, I've never been to Iowa in the wintertime, but yeah, I can definitely picture the winters as, yeah, a little bit worse than what I go through in Southern Illinois. Drug addiction, real people, real stories. Okay. Alright, so there is a warning that, yes, there could be some disturbing parts if we read some of this. Because, yes, it does deal with very sensitive issues like drug poisoning and all that. But anybody is welcome to read about any of the victims, those whose life ended because of drug addiction. Very sensitive subject, I tell you. I've already read a couple of these stories and it's just very sad. I mean, they start out with, you know, the good part of their lives, and a lot of it is told by their parents or by someone close to them. But wow, I mean, it's just, these are really powerful stories, but sometimes a positive can come from this. And there was one that said, you know, this guy's passing helped save a lot of lives from drugs. After seeing what happened to their friend. They also have buttons available, like Ask Me About Jason, for those who knew him. Wow, and these are all statistics, like addiction is a disease, not a weakness of character, but it talks about like the number of drug overdose emergency visits in Iowa. The most being in Des Moines. But yeah, I mean, it's very disturbing to even look at all the counties. I mean, there's not one that says 0. Crazy. I hope other states have done something like this. Here's another artifact that was destroyed by the fire. Well, I shouldn't say destroyed, but it's still here. The bell. The bell broke around the neck and landed on the side and the tower debris. So this dates back to 1864. And this was 1,500 pounds. Crazy. But it's good that they can still display it though. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in Iowa City, Iowa, on the campus of University of Iowa in front of the old state capitol building. Signing off.